We were being asked to consider the role that genetic and health data played in an individual's life and the role that consent and transparency play as a part of that. We first started looking at analogous examples. So where are there other industries or experiences where people might be consenting to something they don't fully understand? And that really led us to reach out to the BDSM community and speaking with a woman who both practices and instructs rope bondage. And there were a few really interesting parallels. One was that oftentimes with somebody who's new to rope bondage, the person who is leading it may have to figure out how to get consent continuously through the experience. So you might not know exactly what you're comfortable with up front if you've never tried something. And so we got a lot of great information about how there are verbal and physical cues for consent along the way throughout a scene. We also learned that she said something really insightful about only asking questions that people can actually answer. People don't often know how to answer the questions they're asked in consent forms related to genetic and health data. So there's a really interesting parallel there as well. Our prototype was actually a collaborative consent booklet, and it was an analog form where you could actually flip open the pages through each section and have a very human description of what you were looking at. With each section, you could determine how you wanted your data to be used. So in the first section, you could say, I would like my health and genetic data to be used regarding by X institutions or for X or Y research areas. As you put your finger on the checkboxes, you could actually see how many people were being impacted by that decision. At the same time, we thought it was also important to show transparency around risk. So as that number goes up of people impacted, so does your exposure risk score. And by having that written on the actual prototype, it allowed us to see what do people see as exposure risk. And that was a really interesting question we were able to ask. So how could we actually see data as currency to have influence on how data is used in scientific research? I think I learned the diversity of perspectives around transparency, but also that there's a tremendous potential to reframe data for all people.